My name is Wilma Corsten. I am a grade 12 student at Forest Heights Community School, and I will be reading What Christmas Is as We Get Older by Charles Dickens. Time was, with most of us, when Christmas Day encircling all our limited world like a magic ring, left nothing out for us to miss or seek, bound together all our home enjoyments, affections, and hopes, grouped everything and everyone around the Christmas fire, and made the little picture shining in our bright young eyes complete. Time came, perhaps all so soon, when our thoughts overleaped that narrow boundary, when there was someone very dear we thought then, very beautiful and absolutely perfect, wanting the fullness of our happiness, when we were wanting too, or we thought so, which did just as well, at the Christmas hearth, by which that someone sat, and when we intertwined with every wreath and garland of our life, that someone's name. That was the time for the bright visionary Christmases, which have long arisen from us to show faintly, after summer rain, in the palest edges of the rainbow. That was the time for beautified enjoyment of the things that we were to be, and never were, and yet the things that were so real in our resolute hope, that it would be hard to say, now, what realities achieved since have been stronger. What? Did the Christmas never really come when we and the priceless pearl, who was our young choice, were received, after the happiest of totally impossible marriages, by the two united families previously at daggers, drawn on our account, when brothers and sisters-in-law, who had always been rather cool to us before our relationship was affected, perfectly doted on us, and when fathers and mothers overwhelmed us with unlimited incomes? Was that Christmas dinner never really eaten, after which we arose and generously and eloquently rendered honor to our late rival, present in the company, then and there exchanging friendship and forgiveness, and founding an attachment not to be surpassed in Greek or Roman story, which subsisted until death? Has that same rival long ceased to care for that same priceless pearl, and married for money and become Osiris? Above all, do we really know now that we should probably have been miserable if we had won and worn the pearl, if that we are better without her? That Christmas, when we had recently achieved so much fame, when we had been carried in triumph somewhere for doing something great and good, when we had won an honored and ennobled name, and arrived and were received at home in a shower of tears of joy, is it possible that that Christmas has never come yet? And is our life here, at the best, so constituted that, pausing as we advance at such a noticeable milestone in the track as this great birthday, we look back on the things that never were, as naturally and as fully and as gravely as on the things that have been and are gone, or have been and still are? If it be so, and if so it seems to be, must we come to the conclusion that life is a little better than a dream, and little worth the loves and strivings that we crowd into it? No! Far be such miscalled philosophy from us. Dear reader, on Christmas Day, nearer and closer to our hearts be the Christmas spirit, which is the spirit of active usefulness, perseverance, cheerful discharge, of duties, kindness, and forbearance. It is in the last virtues especially that we are, or should be, strengthened by the unaccomplished visions of our youth. For who shall say that they are not our teachers to deal gently even with the impalpable nothings of the earth? Therefore, as we grow older, let it be more thankful that the circles of our Christmas associations and of the lessons that they bring expands. Let us welcome every one of them and summon them to take their places on the Christmas hearth. Welcome, old aspirations, glittering creatures of our ardent fancy, to your shelter underneath the holly. We know you, and have not outlived you yet. Welcome old projects and old loves, however fleeting, to your nooks among the steadier lights that burn around us. Welcome all that was ever real to our hearts, and for the earnest that made you real, thanks to heaven. Do we build no Christmas castles in the clouds now? Let our thoughts, fluttering like butterflies among these flowers of children, bear witness. Before this boy, there stretches out a future, brighter than we ever looked at in our old romantic time, but bright with honor and with truth. However, this little head on which the sunny curls lie heaped, that graces sport as prettily as airily, as when they were no sheath with the reach of time to shear away the curls of our first love. Upon another girl's face near it, placider but smiling bright, a quiet and contented little face, we see home fairly written, shining from the world, as rays shine from a star. We see how, when our graves are old, other hopes than ours are young, other hearts than ours are moved, how other ways are smoothed, how other happiness blooms, ripen, and decays. No, not decays. For other homes and other bands of children, not yet being nor of age yet to be, arise, and bloom and ripen to end of all. Welcome everything. Welcome alike what has been, and what never was, when we hope may be, to your shelter underneath the holly, to your places round the Christmas fire, where what is sits open-hearted. In yonder shadow, do we see obtruding fervently upon the blaze an enemy's face? By Christmas Day, we do forgive him, and the injury he has done us may admit of such companionship. Let him come here and take his place. If otherwise, unhappily, let him go hence, assured that we will never injure nor accuse him. On this day we shut out nothing. Pause. Nothing? Think. On Christmas Day we will shut out nothing from our fireside. Nothing. Not the shadow of the vast city where the withered leaves are lying deep? Not the shadow that darkens the whole globe? Not the shadow of the city of the dead? Not even that. Of all days in the year, we will turn our faces towards the city upon Christmas Day, and from its silent hosts bring those we loved among us. City of the dead, in the blessed name wherein we are gathered together at this time, and in the presence that is here among us according to the promise, we will receive, and not dismiss, thy people who are dear to us. Yes, we can look upon these children angels that alight so solemnly, so beautifully among the children by the fire, and compare to think how they departed from us, entertaining angels unaware, as the patriarchs did. The playful children are unconscious of their guests, but we can see them, can see a radiant arm around our favorite neck, as if they were tempting of that child away. Among the celestial figures there is one, a poor misshapen boy on earth, of a glorious beauty now, of whom his dying mother said it grieved her much to leave him here, alone, for so many years, as it was likely would elapse before he came to her. But such a little child. But he went quickly, and he was laid upon her breast, and in her hand she leads him. There was a gallant boy who fell, far away, upon a burning sand beneath a burning sun, and said, "Tell them at home, with my last love, how much I could have wished to kiss them once, and that I died content and had done my duty." Or there was another, over whom they read the words, "Therefore we commit his body to the deep," and so consigned him to the lonely ocean and sailed on. Or there was another, who lay down to his rest in the dark shadow of a grey forest, and on earth awoke no more. Oh, shall they not, from sand and sea and forest, be brought home at such a time? There was a dear girl, almost a woman, never to be one, who made a mourning Christmas in a house of joy, and went her trackless way to the silent city. Do we recollect her, worn out, faintly whispering what could have not been heard, and falling into the last sleep for weariness? Oh, look upon her now. Oh, look upon her beauty, her serenity, her changeless youth, her happiness. The daughter of Jairus was recalled to life, to die, but she, more blessed, has heard the same voice saying unto her, "Arise forever." We had a friend who was our friend from early days, with whom we often pictured the changes that were come upon our lives and merrily imagined how we would speak and walk and think and talk when we came to be old. His destined habitation in the city of the dead received him in his prime. Shall he be shut out from our Christmas remembrance? Would his love be so excluded to us? Lost friend, lost child, lost parent, sister, brother, husband, wife, we will not discard you. You shall hold your cherished place in our Christmas hearts, and by our Christmas fires, and in the season of immortal hope, and on the birthday of the immortal mercy. We will shut out nothing. The winter sun goes down over town and village. On the sea it makes a rosy path. And if the sacred tread were fresh upon the water, a few more moments, and it sinks, and night comes on, and lights begin to sparkle in the prospect. On the hillside beyond the shapelessly diffused town, and in the quiet keeping of the trees that gird the village steeple, remembrances are cut in stone, planted in common flowers, growing in grass, entwined with lowly brambles around many mounds of earth. In town and village, there are doors and windows closed against the weather. There are flaming logs heaped high. There are joyful faces that is healthy music of voices. Be all ungentleness and harm excluded from the temples of the household gods, but be those remembrances admitted with tender encouragement. They are of the time and all its comforting and peaceful reassurances, and of the history that reunited even upon earth the living and the dead, and of the broad benefits and goodness that too many men have tried to tear to narrow shreds.
My name is Stephen King. I am a grade 12 student at Forest Heights, and I shall be reading the story, 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mama in her kerchief, and I in my cap, had just settled our brains for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from the bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters, and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new-fallen snow gave the luster of midday to objects below, when, what to my wondering eyes should appear, but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer, with a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be St. Nick. More rapid than eagles, his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen. To the top of the porch, to the top of the wall, now dash away, dash away, dash away all. As dry leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky. So up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with the sleigh full of toys and St. Nicholas too. And then, in a twinkling, I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof, as I drew in my head and was turning around. Down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur, from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes how they twinkled, his dimples how merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard of his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of his pipe he held in his teeth, and the smoke it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk, and laying his finger aside on his nose, and giving a nod, up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim, ere he drove out of sight, "Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night."
Hi, my name is Bethany Rodeneister, and I'm going to be reading you the story of the 12 Days of Christmas. On the first day of Christmas, my true love sent to me a partridge in a pear tree. On the second day of Christmas, my true love sent to me 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 3rd day of Christmas, my true love sent to me 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 4th day of Christmas, my true love sent to me 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 5th day of Christmas, my true love sent to me 5 golden rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 6th day of Christmas, my true love sent to me 6 geese a-laying, 5 golden rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 7th day of Christmas, my true love sent to me 7 swans a-swimming, 6 geese a-laying, 5 golden rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 8th day of Christmas, my true love sent to me 8 maids a-milking, 7 swans a-swimming, 6 geese a-laying, 5 golden rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 9th day of Christmas, my true love sent to me 9 ladies dancing, 8 maids a-milking, 7 swans a-swimming, 6 geese a-laying, 5 golden rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 10th day of Christmas, my true love sent to me 10 lords a-leaping, 9 ladies dancing, 8 maids a-milking, 7 swans a-swimming, 6 geese a-laying, 5 golden rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 11th day of Christmas, my true love sent to me 11 pipers piping, 10 lords a-leaping, 9 ladies dancing, 8 maids a-milking, 7 swans a-swimming, 6 geese a-laying, 5 golden rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 12th day of Christmas, my true love sent to me 12 drummers drumming, 11 pipers piping, 10 lords a-leaping, 9 ladies dancing, 8 maids a-milking, 7 swans a-swimming, 6 geese a-laying, 5 golden rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree.
Hi, I'm Emily Jollymore. I'm a grade 12 student at Forest Heights Community School, and I will be reading you the classic story called The Snowman. "It is so delightfully cold," said the snowman, "that it makes my whole body crackle. This is just the kind of wind to blow life into one. How that great red thing up there is staring at me." He meant the sun, who is just setting. "It shall not make me wink. I shall manage to keep the pieces." He had 2 triangular pieces of tile in his head instead of eyes. His mouth was made of an old broken rake and was, of course, furnished with teeth. He had been brought into existence amidst the joyous shouts of boys, the jingling of sleigh bells, and the slashing of whips. The sun went down, and the full moon rose, large, round, and clear, shining in the deep blue. "There it comes again, from the other side," said the snowman, who supposed the sun was showing himself once more. "Ah, I've cured him of staring, though. Now he may hang up there and shine, that I may see myself. If I only knew how to manage to move away from this place. I should so like to move. If I could, I would slide along yonder on the ice, as I have seen the boys do, but I don't understand how. I don't even know how to run." "Away, away," barked the old yard dog. He was quite hoarse, and could not pronounce bow wow properly. He had once seen an indoor dog, and lay by the fire, and he had been hoarse ever since. "The sun will make you run some day. I saw him, last winter, make your predecessor run, and his predecessor before him. Away, away, they all have to go." I don't understand you, comrade, said the snowman. Is that thing up yonder to teach me to run? I saw it running itself a little while ago, and now it has come creeping up from the other side. You know nothing at all, replied the yard dog. But then, you've only lately been patched up. What you see yonder is the moon, and the one before it was the sun. It will come again tomorrow, and most likely teach you to run down into the ditch by the well, for I think the weather's going to change. I can feel such pricks and stabs in my left leg. I'm sure there's going to be a change. I don't understand him, said the snowman to himself, but I have a feeling that he's talking of something very disagreeable. The one who stared so just now, and whom he calls the sun, is not my friend. I can feel that too. Away, away, barked the yard dog, and then he turned round 3 times and crept into his kennel to sleep. There's really a change in the weather. Towards morning, a thick of fog covered the whole country round, and a keen wind rose, so that the cold seemed to freeze one's bones. But when the sun rose, the sight was splendid. Trees and bushes were covered with hoar frost, and looked like a forest of white coral, while on every twig glittered frozen dewdrops. The many delicate forms concealed in summer by luxuriant foliage were now clearly defined and looked like glittering lacework. From every twig glistened a white radiance. The birch, waving in the wind, looked full of life, like trees in summer, and its appearance was wondrously beautiful. And where the sun shone, how everything glittered and sparkled, as if diamond dust had been strewn about, while the snowy carpet of the earth appeared as if it covered with diamonds, from which countless lights gleamed, whiter than ever the snow itself. This is really beautiful, said a young girl, who had come into the garden with a young man, and they both stood still near the snowman and contemplated the glittering scene. Summer cannot show a more beautiful sight, she exclaimed, while her eyes sparkled. And we can't have such a fellow as this in the summertime, replied the young man, pointing to the snowman. He is capital. The girl laughed and nodded at the snowman, and then tripped away over the snow with her friend. The snow creaked and crackled beneath her feet as if she had been treading on starch. Who are these two? Asked the snowman of the yard dog. You have been here longer than I have. Do you know them? Of course I know them, replied the yard dog. She has stroked my back many times, and he has given me a bone of meat. I never bite those two. But what are they? Asked the snowman. They're lovers, he replied. They'll go and live in the same kennel by and by, and gnaw at the same bone. Away, away. Are they the same kind of beings as you and I? Asked the snowman. Well, they belong to the same master, retorted the yard dog. Certainly people who were only born yesterday know very little. I can see that in you. I have age and experience. I know everyone here in the house, and I know there was once a time when I did not lie out here in the cold, fastened to a chain. Away, away. The cold is delightful, said the snowman. But do tell me. Only you must not clank your chain so, for it jars all through me when you do that. Away, away, barked the yard dog. I'll tell you. They said I was a pretty little fellow once. Then I used to lie in a velvet-covered chair, up at the master's house, and sit in the mistress's lap. They used to kiss my nose and wipe my paws with an embroidered handkerchief, and I was called Amie, dear Amie, sweet Amie. But after a while I grew too big for them, and they sent me away to the housekeeper's room, so I came to live on the lower story. You can look into the room from where you stand and see where I was master once, for I was indeed master to the housekeeper. It was certainly a smaller room than those upstairs, but I was more comfortable, for I was not being continually taken hold of and pulled about by the children as I had been. I received quite as good food, or even better. I had my own cushion, and there was a stove, It is the finest thing in the world at this season of the year. I used to go under the stove and lie down quite beneath it. Ah, I still dream of that stove. Away, away. Does a stove look beautiful? Said the snowman. Is it at all like me? It is just the reverse of you, said the dog. It's as black as a crow and has a long neck and brass knob. It eats firewood so that fire spurts out of its mouth. We should keep on one side or under it to be comfortable. You can see it through the window from where you stand. Then the snowman looked and saw a bright polished thing with a brazen knob and fire gleaming from the lower part of it. The snowman felt quite a strange sensation come over him. It was very odd. He knew not what it meant, and he could not account for it. But there are people who are not men of snow, who understand what it is. And why did you leave her? Asked the snowman, for it seemed to him that the stove must be of the female sex. How could you give up such a comfortable place? I was obliged, replied the yard dog. They turned me out of doors and chained me up here. I had bitten the youngest of my master's sons in the leg because he kicked away the bone I was gnawing. Bone for bone, I thought, but they were so angry, and from that time I have been fastened with a chain and lost my bone. Don't you hear how hoarse I am? Away, away, I can't talk any more like other dogs. Away, away, that is the end of it all. But the snowman was no longer listening. He was looking into the housekeeper's room on the lower story, where the stove stood on its 4 iron legs, looking about the same size as the snowman himself. What a strange crackling I feel within me, he said. Shall I ever get in there? It is an innocent wish, and innocent wishes are sure to be fulfilled. I must go in there and lean against her, even if I have to break the window. You must never go in there, said the yard dog, for if you approach the stove, you'll melt away, away. I might as well go, said the snowman, for I think I am breaking up as it is. During the whole day the snowman stood looking in through the window, and in the twilight hour the room became still more inviting, for from the stove came a gentle glow, not like the sun or the moon, no, only the bright light which gleams from a stove when it has been well fed. When the door of the stove was opened, the flames darted out of its mouth. This is customary with all stoves. The light of the flames fell directly on the face and breast of the snowman with a ruddy gleam. I can endure it no longer, said he. How beautiful it looks when it stretches out its tongue. The night was long, but it did not appear so to the snowman, who stood there enjoying his own reflections and crackling with the cold. In the morning, the window panes of the housekeeper's room were covered with ice. They were the most beautiful ice flowers any snowman could desire, but they concealed the stove. These window panes would not thaw, and he could see nothing of the stove, which he pictured to himself, as if it had been a lovely human being. The snow crackled and the wind whistled around him. It was just the kind of frosty weather a snowman might thoroughly enjoy, but he did not enjoy it. How, indeed, could he enjoy anything when he was stove-sick? That is a terrible disease for a snowman, said the yard dog. I've suffered from it myself, but I got over it. Away, away, he barked, and then he added, the weather is going to change. And the weather did change. It began to thaw. As the warmth increased, the snowman decreased. He said nothing and made no complaint, which is a sure sign. One morning he broke and sunk down altogether, and behold, where he had stood, something like a broomstick remained sticking up in the ground. It was the pole round which the boys had built him up. Ah, now I understand why he had such a great longing for the stove, said the yard dog. Why, there's the shovel that it is used for cleaning out the stove, fastened to the pole. The snowman had a stove scraper in his body. That was what moved him so. But it's all over now. Away, away. And soon the winter passed. Away, away, barked the hoarse yard dog. But the girls in the house sang. Come from your fragrant home, green thyme. Stretch your soft branches, willow tree. The months are bringing the sweet springtime, when the lark in the sky sings joyfully. Come, gentle sun, while the cuckoo sings, and I'll mock his note in my wanderings. And nobody thought any more of the snowman. The end.